Hey guys, so I want to talk today about the top 5 myths that we hear in divorce cases and why they're myths. Let's debunk those myths. Let's talk about why those are not actually the case with divorce. Wanted to go over some of that with you. So, number one, there's this myth that divorce is always a battle, that there's always this fighting, and it has to be acrimonious, and it's just not true. We help men all the time. We do divorce, family law. We work with men all the time where they have things worked out with their wife, or they have most of their things worked out, and it's just not true that it has to be a big battle, it has to be a big problem in a divorce case. It's not true. Some people come in, think that they're going to work it all out, and then that doesn't always happen. But most of the time, you're able to work through an agreement. A good 95% of divorce cases are settled out of court, so you're not usually going to be stuck in some big battle and have all these problems in your divorce case. It just won't be the case, not if it's done the right way, not if you're getting good advice right from the beginning. Some of it is setting expectations. What's realistic? What should you be expecting in your divorce case? That helps set the tone, helps you understand what's coming so that you know what to expect in your divorce. And then that's going to help you along the way there. I'm just in this little atrium, this little waterfall over here. That's probably the noise we're hearing. That little guy's right there. But yeah, so that's the first myth. Number two, there's this myth that mothers always get custody of the children, or Michigan's a mom state, or I don't know, people say that kind of stuff. And they probably say it to some extent out of experience, out of what they've heard about it, out of what their friends have gone through, and that's part of where it comes from. But it really isn't the case. There's certainly no law that says that mothers get custody of children and that the fathers don't get custody. It's just not true. There's nothing in our laws, there's no legal basis for that. Now, there could be the reality that a lot of women have custody. There's a lot of divorce cases that we do where the men, where the fathers agree that they want the mom to have custody. They're saying the kid should live with mom, that's kind of a better arrangement. That can happen. So when it's by agreement, that certainly skews the numbers. There are a lot of people that end up agreeing to the mom having custody of the children. So I think that's part of that. And now there's certainly a lot of women that will fight about custody or come into a divorce case thinking that the father shouldn't get any time with the kids, or somehow they're going to just live full-time with the mom no matter what. But there's no law that says that. Really, if you're looking to get an agreement and you're looking for some sort of shared custody arrangement, that's usually realistic, unless your work schedule prevents it. If you're just not available to be around the kids, and of course, then that makes it impossible. You can always get a different work schedule, right? You can get a different job. You could completely change careers if you wanted. But, in general, if you're available and you're as involved with the kids as the mom is, you have every right to be doing a shared custody arrangement. There's no law saying that you get half the time with them, but there's also no law saying that they're going to live full-time with mom. Really, the only way they're going to live full-time with mom is if you agree to it. I mean, that's probably the best way to look at it. So a shared custody arrangement is certainly realistic. So this myth that mothers always get custody of children just really isn't the reality unless it's by agreement. A shared custody arrangement can mean all kinds of different things. It can mean half the time with them. It can mean, every other weekend, Friday to Monday, which is, this idea of shared custody is really designed around how many nights do you have out of 14, because there's usually a 2-week rotating schedule with your typical parenting schedule, whether it's a divorce or a custody case. But this idea that moms somehow have some advantage, or not really the case unless the mom's been the one that's, been running the show and taking care of kids and you're not really involved, right? So, and then myth number 3 is that divorce leads to financial ruin, or always leads to financial ruin. We'll hear people say that sometimes too. It's just not the case. It does not have to be the case. If things are being done the right way, you do not have to worry about the divorce case ruining you financially. It just shouldn't be the case. Anything that would be born out of would be, first of all, split of assets. I mean, you could expect in a divorce case that you're going to lose half of your assets. If you're married long enough, you own everything jointly. So that certainly can be the case. You could end up having to sell your house, or maybe you're just doing a split on the house. And then other things that I think are the context of this concept that divorce ruins you financially. One would be, of course, child support. If there's a custody arrangement where you end up paying some child support, it's not going to be a number you can't afford. It just won't be. Not when we're handling it. I mean, there's no way. The way that child support guidelines work, it's based on your income and the mom's income, and it's based on the schedule with the kids. And if you have a good schedule and a good income, you're not going to be feeling like, oh, this thing has ruined me financially, I can't get through this. So it just isn't the case. You're not going to find that a divorce is going to ruin you financially, not if it's done properly. It really, really should not be a concern. Again, it's a myth. That just isn't the case. And then myth number 4, divorce is always caused by infidelity. It's not really true. By the time we meet with people, usually the divorce has started or they're starting one, so it's been coming on for a while. We hear a lot of talk about infidelity at our meetings, initial meetings with divorce clients, potential clients, but that's because this thing has been going on for a while. These people probably been separated for years sometimes. They've been growing apart. It's just not really what you would call a marriage, although they're still legally married. It's not what you would think of as a marriage. They're not really treating things as husband and wife anymore. In that situation, there's infidelity maybe, or people have just moved on, they're living separately. But it's not like every divorce involves infidelity. That really isn't the case. Some of them do. A lot of them don't. A lot of them are just people going separate ways. They can't get along. It's not working out, and they're making a change in their life. It doesn't mean that there is infidelity or has to be infidelity with every divorce case, or cheating, or these boyfriends and girlfriends going on in the background. It's not typical that that's the case. There's certainly a plenty of situations where it is the case, but it's not always. And then myth number 5, this one we hear a lot, is that you have to be married for at least 10 years for spousal support or alimony. So there's this idea out there that if I haven't been married for 10 years, I don't have to worry about paying alimony. It's not true. There's nothing anywhere in Michigan law that says anything about 10 years related to alimony, or also known as spousal support. Now, I think where this myth comes from is that you have to be married for 10 years for Social Security to be a factor. In other words, usually these myths are based in some sort of fact, right? Based in reality, based on people's experiences. 10 years for spousal support is not a thing. You could be married 2 years and potentially have to pay spousal support, or you could be married 20 years and not have to pay spousal support. So there's not a number of years in our laws about how long you have to be married before you have to pay spousal support or alimony, or a minimum, or any of that kind of stuff. But 10 years comes from Social Security. So let's say you're married to someone and you've been married more than 10 years and they never worked, and they're not someone that's going to work. Either they're disabled or they just have never had a full-time job. They don't pay into Social Security. So where the 10-year rule comes in is that person, as your spouse, can now qualify for Social Security benefits because they can use your credits that you've paid into Social Security to qualify because they're your spouse. So even after they're divorced from you, if they were married to you more than 10 years, they qualify for Social Security benefits through your Social Security, not through what they've paid in. Maybe they haven't paid in anything. Now, that money does not come out of the money that is paid to you. They qualify for that benefit because of you, but then the money is paid separately from your money. So if you have $3,000 a month coming at retirement age and you're married to somebody more than 10 years and that person never paid into Social Security at all, they could qualify for half of that number. So if you had $3,000 a month coming, they can get $1,500 a month for Social Security benefit, even though they never paid into Social Security. Because remember, Social Security, the whole idea of it is that you pay money in while you're working, and then you can draw money at retirement age. So that's where that 10-year myth, I think, comes from, is this idea that with Social Security, you can make a claim, you can be eligible to collect Social Security benefits even though you were never paying in. So hopefully that helps. Those are our top 5 myths that just are not the case when it comes to divorce. And any questions, let me know. You can always give me a call. You can email me. I'll help any way I can. Thanks.